Baymax walked up onto the desk. I could show you, but I'm not going to right now. And sat on my keyboard, which was on. So this part one has to be two parts in and of itself. So let me rephrase what I was saying. Part one, I'm talking about the book of Luke, chapters 5 and 6, but I was just about to read verse 27. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. And I want the world of spirituality to understand something. The real people do this all the time. I was just saying before it cut out, and I don't know exactly when, thank you, Baymax, the 7-year-old little girl that became a Christian with her parents, as I read the Bible every day because that was our discipline, I didn't know what an enemy was. Well, I did, because in the Christian church, they define enemy. Richard and Sabina Wombrun had enemies, and they were both tortured. I will tell you what a little girl like me, all the way up to the age of 57, hurts within her heart about. I know the suffering of my people and me on this side, and we've never been thrown in jail. Who's my enemy? Because my enemy is not the same enemy as Richard and Sabina Wombrun of Voice of the Martyrs. Do you see? And I can answer that rather painfully, because Tom White molested a little girl, and he was a main player in Voice of the Martyrs, and I already wrote and hurt through that testimony in my published works. And he is an enemy, though he was a friend of Richard and Sabina Wombrun, who would have never touched children that way. Start crying, Christianity, because I don't know what to do with that kind of wickedness in a faithful life, and neither do you. And that is the problem. Are we tares or are we wheat? And I have been preparing, particularly the baby boomer in my midst, for this moment, because I want you to understand something. I'm going to fast forward in part 2. I'm going to fast forward the parable of the tares and the wheats, because guess what, bitches? You can become wheat. But your journey and mine are two different journeys, and I'm elect and you're not. There are very few elect in the population anymore. Just because you have Jewish blood in your DNA does not mean you're elect. And a lot of Jews have a chip on their shoulder, but yet the Republican Party is picking on Jews again. And people are trying to de-horrify the Holocaust, and you can go fuck yourselves. That's just flat out wicked. I don't have to think about that. They're tares. They cannot choose. They've made their choice when they're doing that on social media. I'm talking about the little people where we can change our social media quietly. I have a lot of social media. I just cross-posted on several different branches of social media. In my world, they're going to get along. I don't give a fuck. The supposed fighting between Mark Z and Elon M. I don't give a fuck. I did have one of my main accounts yesterday help me not start to give money to Twitter because of what's going on over there. All he had to do was tweet "no way" to one of, in response to something I asked humbly on one of my Twitter accounts. You go find it, but at least the last I checked, the cat was white. Hint, hint, bitches. This is Tara, not Kara, BC. My cat is literally perked up his ears because he heard cat. Didn't say his name. He's starting to dream, and his little head is on Cat's notebook, a journal of quotes and art for the ultimate cat lover. Well, I happen to be an ultimate dog and cat lover. Therefore, what you're going to think of before I read the tares and the wheat is something that is unusual. And that is, I really do have the power as a little person, because I'm a little person, even as Tara, the archangel, I'm a little person. I have the ability to free will myself out of the mandala, hells and heavens of the terror people who have the money and have the religion and have their opinions, and they bully us. I can weep myself back into a better place, and it may take time, and I may have to be a servant or a slave in their midst, but I can do this. And what I'm going to do is light a candle, light a tea light, just to let this video know, people around me who know who I am are starting to play games in front of my window. I've left my sunflower, my flowers. I can see my Berbers. My Kiki is here napping on and they start presenting themselves in front because they know I'm sitting here. That just happened. Lots of us on social media know what I'm talking about. No, that's not the kind of trick you're going to play. And I have the Constitution here for one reason. It needs redoing. So this video can come to an end. What I'm gonna do is put the Constitution away now. It's made its point, hasn't it? I know where it is, you don't. So it's gonna be changing. I just put it away. I am opening my dad's desk drawers. One of them, I see my daughter Lydia's gifts. July is her birth month. I have already started her gifts. I do this except for the ones that cannot afford presents. And that's what I found out. A lot of my children and now I are starting to choose not to buy each other's gifts, and I am saying it yet again for Christmas. We can't afford this monetarily, bitches. But we do want to enjoy the seasons, so we're figuring it out the best we can. That's all I can tell you right now. All right, so here's the candle. And so I'm praying for not just this fucked up nation. I'm praying for us. But it's not prayer. I've said this before. I'm a spiritualist. Why are you using that word? Because there's some accounts associated with the king that are beginning to explain spiritualism. And I'm pretty certain that they're male accounts, and that means the king is leading. And what you don't know is that I have a new video ready to upload with Uncovered No More's testimony, and I did a mirror image. And here's the key to elect and the king. Here's the key. We know when to follow and then lead as girls. We know when to lead and then follow as boys. And we do that all our lives. And we're humble. And everybody attacks us because they're jealous, they hate us, they try to love us and don't understand us. It's a myriad of things. We try our best. But here is what the 7-year-old, as I light this tea light, here is what the 7-year-old is learning. What the actual term enemy is. Where free will of other people, not me, because I've been free willing it the whole time as an elect Asher Judah person. So you can go fuck yourself if you don't think I don't understand that. Because some other Bible is coming out, and again, it's all going on poetry, but the one that's coming out is a reading that's coming out is Revelation 7 and 14, and to most people that is going to be boring as fuck, but not to me, because I understand what Tara is saying. It just so happens so do other archangels. Gabriel, Michael, even Lucifer, all of their armies, and I don't know what I'm talking about there. But I have testimony on YouTube about my Lucifer and my Michaels, even that came out, my Lucifers, my Michaels, my Gabriels, that even, I have 3 sons. I've gently told them which army they're in. There's reasons for that. It's coming out in the partial reading of my book. No, I'm not going to talk about my children on that. That's just purely me. They need a break from America, in my personal opinion. We're just going to cook up some good food and start learning how to live again after what we've been through since 2008. There you go. Enemy. More than before, I understand the term enemy. And let me tell you what I can tell you. Some people deserve your service, even if they're hurting you, because they are faithful people. And you're faithful. You deserve them, they deserve you, but you have to give them time and they have to give you time to let all of the hard pass away. And you will, attack each other until that's done. You have to restore trust. And I'm talking about my marriage. We went through a really hard time from 2008 until 2023. But I can tell you that my marriage, my partnership with a baby boomer is ready for 2024. We have the skill set to stay out of the election vitriol. We're going to do our part. He isn't on social media hardly at all. He has another life. He has told me openly he needs to find his new friends. He and I are maintaining our friendship. We lost all of our mutual friends. We're in too much pain. We have agreed we've got to find our separate friends, and then our children are actually our friends in our world, and their friends and partners are our friends, and of course our grandchildren. So we really do have a big enough group together that don't attack us and we don't attack them. We all just survived through that. So we just have to have individual lives now, because Curtis and I were very codependent on each other. And that's not going to be read out of my book, but I openly shared it in the book. That's the part that's going to be cut out, because our lives need to become ours again. Uncover No More ended up exposing all 12 of us to things that we had no control over. I'm tired of being guilty about it. And again, I've got accounts, but when I'm honest, they give me hugs. They help me along. They say, keep going, girl. You go, girl. And that's like therapy to me. I have social media accounts that are like therapists, just like the one I pay. And will call if I continue to get bullied, but I'm not. We're all working hard not to bite the hand, which in some cases bit us, but in other cases pulled us out of a bad place. And that is all 12 members of our family. Codependency is required in Christianity and Catholicism. Let me say that again. Codependency is required in Christianity and Catholicism. And here's the second point. Men are always strong. Women are always the weaker vessel. And man, take those glasses off. I will tell you 100% accurately, the King of Kings, in whichever body form he has decided to show me in, ain't wearing those glasses. Never did. He's over 2,000 years old. Have no idea how many lives he's had. Know a few of them of my own. And I can go all the way back to Enoch with him. He doesn't need to say a word. I just know he's back there with me. That mystery is complete. So, last I checked, he don't have a problem with where I take him. Literally. That's because there's a trust there that we didn't have to establish. It's an immortal trust. It's an original trust. And I don't understand what I just said. But he understands the concept probably more than I, that he has to reform trust in new relationships of Judah, world and time-wide. In other words, we have to get to know each other again. Since I'm a primary, immortal, original who is testifying how I get my dead back, I will tell you this. That's true with any of them that I know are back and that I'm actually talking to. And they're talking to me. We have to get our perspective in context of the life now. And need I remind you that since they're the shapeshifters, they have to choose when to stabilize. And that is a mystery. You know, Jesus, I saw Satan falling from the sky kind of thing. Yeah, well, Jesus falls from the sky too, so technically he becomes a Satan in his own testimony in the gospel record. I'm just the gal Tara who on another YouTube said don't use Satan, devil, Lucifer, or any of that for wickedness. Evil is evil. They're not to me. There's been all kinds of things happen that prove that to me. They're my friends. All right. Goodbye.